Hello and welcome to the Broke But Not Broken podcast. I am your host, Destocat. And let's just get right into this week's episode. Unfortunately, I am late once again, but I will still, once again, be releasing it on Tuesday, just at a later time. I was this close to stopping myself from posting this episode, or recording an episode, because I was not in the mood, but I am on a streak, and I would hate to see that get broken. So let me try to crank one out. Doesn't matter how much energy is put into this, as long as I am okay with it, then I think everyone will be too. I just want to start off by talking about my book, maybe one last time before dragging it out each week. I published a poetry book. It's called A Little More Than Sentiments. It's a collection of my first 100 poems, and it's on Amazon, self-published. I was very happy with the reception I got from my friends and family for publishing this, and overall, I'm happy. I'm happy to hold a physical piece of media that I wrote in my hand. And I guess you could say that I'm an artist now, an author, at least a writer, at the very least. This book was number one on Amazon new releases under the Asian American poetry section for a minute or so. I know it was there pretty much through the bias of recency, and because it was hype within that 1 minute moment. But it was cool to see it as number one on the Amazon new releases. Seeing that was kind of a little surreal, but kind of cool. Maybe just to close it out, just once again, if you are interested in poetry or you just want to check out my book, Little More Sentiments, on Amazon. And let me actually, just for one last time, let me read one more poem from the book. I will randomly generate a number from 1 to 100. We got 17. 17. That's a good number. If you know, you know. 1 of 4. 1 of 4. All right, so this poem's called 1 of 4. Songs that are reaching are the ones that are speaking, regardless of the lack of history I know. Drum beats are the ones that make us shiver, and our heartbeats keep us in oscillation. But when she sings out, my eardrums hear all, regardless of the lack of her language I know. Okay, so part of me thinks I've read this one before, so I'm gonna go ahead and read just one more, especially because this will be probably the last time I talk about this. 13. That's a little too low. Let's do a higher number. 96. 96. Okay, 96. So this doesn't mean the Sentiments collection. The Sentiments collection is a collection of 9 poems I have towards the end of the book, which was which came pretty much from my final English portfolio project at the end of my undergraduate time in college during when I was doing an English minor. So we have 96. 96. Okay, so this is going to be a problem because it's not order. So 100, 99, 98, 97, 96. Okay, 96, 96. All right, so this one's the sentiments. Specifically, it's a sentiment for Srivanas Ramanujan, who was an Indian mathematician, who was one of my inspirations for loving math the way I do. He was gone too soon, pretty much. I recommend checking out his dramatized biography movie. It's on Netflix, I believe. It's called The Man Who Knew Infinity. It's played by the lead, Ramanujan. The lead in the movie is played by actor Dev Patel, who I love, and he did Slumdog Millionaire and Lion and The Green Knight. So it's a good movie. I would say check it out, whether you like math or not. All right, and it's on Netflix, so it's easy for you people to watch if you don't know how to sail the seven seas. All right. So this is called Sentiments for S. Ramanujan. As Miller is to Shakespeare, Ramanujan was to Einstein. He was ahead of his time. He listened to God and put meaning in the world through his eyes. The world rejected him and said he was wrong. When the mistake was realized, it was far too late. Because you were different and came from dirt, they wouldn't let you walk on their grass, a consequence of birth. But you found art in the dirt, and you showed me that if we count every single grain of it, then I would count too. He was the man who knew every number from 1 to infinity, and I like to think he is still friends with them too. And I have a little quote by him underneath the poem. An expression for me has no meaning unless it expresses a thought of God. Ramanujan was a mathematician who was also very religious, but that religious part of him is what made him such a great mathematician. And that's why it's one of many reasons why I think religion in its uncorrupt ways is a net good. And religion is great because it gives people faith when they might not have it, and it brings people together when they might have no one. And in those two aspects, religion, I think, is a net good. Of course, there's a lot of other bad things that only the news will say about religion, but I'm only talking about the two things that I just mentioned. All right. So last week I talked about I was gonna go see Suzume, the new Makoto Shinkai film, the maker of Your Name. Everybody knows Your Name. I thought it was a great film. I am trying to see how I would rank it. It's kind of tough. See, if I have to rank his latest 4 movies, or these are the 4 movies I'm only ranking because they're the ones that kind of stand out. And those movies are from Makoto Shinkai: Your Name, Weathering with You, Suzume, the one I just watched, and 5 centimeters per second. Now, there was a movie that came out between Your Name and 5 centimeters per second called Garden of Words. But I treat that more as a visual demo, not really a movie. I could rank it, but then it would just be at the bottom, so I don't want to even rank it. It just seems the only reason to rank it would be put it at the bottom, and that just seems unnecessary. So let's see. How do I say this? Yeah, so I would rank them in this way. I would put Your Name at the bottom out of the 4. Not because I don't like it, but I think I enjoyed it the least out of these 4. But it partially could be because of all the hype it got. But it did put him on the map, so I very appreciate what Your Name did for Makoto Shinkai. I have 5 centimeters per second in slot number 1 because that's the movie that got me into Makoto Shinkai before Your Name even came out. And then we have Suzume and Weathering with You. And this is where I'm having confliction of who can be second place, who can be third place. Because I really like Suzume a lot. There's some parts of it I was kind of like, eh. Like, I had no idea what was the point. But I don't want to spoil this movie, okay? Because this was a really good movie. All of his movies are great. And nobody has probably seen the movie yet because it officially comes out in America in April, I want to say. And the New York Children's Film Festival had 1 showing. And I got lucky to get tickets. So yeah, it was the only showing in all of the U.S. I was one of the first people in the U.S. I was the first person in the U.S. I think to see, among everybody else in that room, to see that movie. So I don't want to spoil it too much, or at all, really. It was great. I'm glad he tried something new. Overall, it's still the same ideas as Your Name and Weathering with You. Because he seems to have found some kind of formula. Which is good, but like the problem I have with his movies is that they're missing like the only way I can describe it is heart. They're missing heart. They have great visuals. They have great characters. They have great story. They have a nice, good story, but just missing like heart. I know that sounds a little weird, but I have no idea how to explain that with Shinkai's films. They're missing heart. But he did try some new things in Suzume. There was more action. There was a lot more use of. There's a lot more expression and creativity for sure. Outside of just human interactions, so I thought that was pretty cool. I did not watch the trailer. I was very surprised at one of the things that happened in the movie. I liked it, but I think I don't know. Weathering You, something about it I just really liked. So I think I'm gonna put Weathering You at second place, Suzume at third place, and I'm trying really hard to not have that bias of recency, and then Your Name at fourth place. But all four of these movies are great. If you've never seen a Shinkai film, I guess go check out Your Name because everybody loves that one, and it's the one that put them on the map. And if you want to check it out, a movie in theaters, let's see here. Suzume will be coming out in April, like I said. So check out Suzume by Shinkai, Makoto Shinkai. I just realized that I'm trying to see this. March 17th. Yes, on March, if you are in New York, on March 17th, at the Japan Society, they will be playing two of Shinkai's very early films, The Place Promised in Our Early Days and Voices of a Distant Star. If you don't go see these movies in this way, or if somebody doesn't tell you to watch these movies, you'll probably never see these movies. But these are the movies that really, you can see how, if you know Your Name, you should check out these movies. You can see how much he's grown as a director and a writer. Yeah. Main point, Suzume, amazing. Definitely should check it out again when it comes out officially in the US. I might go see it again. I'm gonna take a pause here for a second because I am warming up food and I want to go get that food. So be right back. And I'm back. All right, I'm back here with my cauliflower bun breakfast sandwich. How exciting does that sound? Doesn't sound too exciting to me personally. So what can I talk about now? Let's jump to a quick little note I have about time zones. You know, like each time zone is separated by like 3 hours, right? I think like Central Time is 3 hours from here, and then Western Time is 6 hours from here. But like, why 3 hours? Like, is there nowhere on the, if I'm walking, does the time never shift like by 1 hour or 2 hours? I kind of don't get how to comprehend that without doing any research. Yeah, I don't know how time zones work. It bothers me, but it doesn't bother me enough to look it up. Anybody ever thought about that? Like, how come if I stand between somewhere in the Eastern Time Zone and Central Time Zone, I'm either at 3 p.m. or 6 p.m., but I'm not anywhere in between? Like, if I stand in the middle of the time zones, wouldn't it be like 4:30 p.m.? Right? What's up with that? All right, that's my little time zone rant. Okay, wait. So I'm gonna talk about my book again for this 1 millisecond here. So publishing this book was part of my 10 resolutions that I made for the year, and another one of those resolutions was to complete 40 anime, and I am not keeping up at a good rate of that at the moment, but I have completed 4 anime. I decided to watch 4 anime at a time. So, let me talk about those animes that I watched recently. So the first one I watched is Fruits Basket, the final season. I've been stalling on that for quite a while. Fruits Basket was one of the first manga I've ever gotten outside of the Shonen Jumps. Um, my dad just got it for me randomly from a bookstore, so like I kind of have like some nostalgia, like oh, this is my first real manga. Um, I don't think I watched the original series. I did read the manga, in its entirety. I'm pretty sure. And when they were decided to remake the series, all HD and stuff, I was like, okay, I should rewatch it, for the sake of my childhood. And I remember it being good and well beloved. Took me a while to get to that final season. I finished it, and there was a beautiful idea about bonds in the show that I totally forgot the ending of this anime, and I thought it was really beautiful. Because the main character, or not the main character, one of the characters is like a god figure, and he is attached to I forgot how many zodiacs are there. How many zodiacs? Zodiacs, the Chinese zodiacs, right? How many Chinese zodiacs are there? 12, I think, right? Yeah. So there's a god figure in the show, and he's attached to 12 other people, like through spiritually. Those 12 people represent each of the 12 Chinese zodiacs. And they're bonded to each other, like just through faith. Because that's the fairy tale that's presented. Like the original god was bonded, and when he was passing away, he says, "Okay, no matter what, no matter when we pass away, we will still be bonded to each other by faith." So now we have these new modern day characters, and there's 13 of them. The god figure, damn, I forgot his name. Let's see here. Let me see if I can find his name real quick. Akito, of the Soma family. He is, yeah. When they were telling the past about the past god before Akito, or even way before him, I think he was lonely, and he attached himself to the cat. Came to visit him, and then after a cat came to visit him, he said, "Okay, I can be friends with the animals." So he found the 12 other animals to represent the zodiacs to be friends with him, and they would have banquets together, and they would hang out. And then eventually, the cat died. And then the god felt betrayal. That's why they cast not in the zodiac, according to this show's fairy tale. And so the god guy, he said to the other 12 zodiacs, the animals, he said, no matter what, we will all die, but if we attach each other through spiritual strings, then we will always be together. So he did that, So now we're in modern times. We have the god spiritually attached to the 12. And it's kind of like, the reason why he did this is because he didn't want to feel sad when he died. And he didn't need to feel sad because he knew, because of these bonds he created, that he would never be alone. And I thought that was kind of beautiful. Of course, the bigger overall aspect of this show is that the bonds need to be broken so that people can live their lives as themselves. What else? I also watched. So I watched 4 animes. Fruits Basket, the last season was 1, and then I watched Cyberpunk Edgerunners, which is an anime spin-off, I want to say, based on the Cyberpunk video game. And I thought this one was really good too. It's only 10 episodes. I would recommend this one for sure. The visuals are great. The storyline is simple. It's pretty sad, actually. It's not nothing really. It's pretty tragic for most of the characters in the show. And the ending is pretty like bittersweet too. So if you like a show like that, I would say check it out. It makes me want to play the Cyberpunk game. Although they're not really related, but same atmosphere. Yeah. It's a really good anime. So it's solid. I would say check it out. It made me cry, but I think I mentioned this multiple times. I cry pretty easily these days. So yeah. And then what are two animes I watched? I watched Bleach, Thousand Year Blood War, which is the new Bleach anime adaptation of the last arc of the manga, which never got adapted. I watched the first half of that because the second half hasn't come out yet, and it was great. Animation was killer. They put a lot of effort I can see into the animation. And then I was gonna not watch this anime because I already read the manga, so I kind of know what's already gonna happen. But I never really watched much of Bleach as a kid, so I was like, let me watch this. I mean, they brought it back, so it's a lot of hype about this, and it's gorgeous. The animation is gorgeous. The story is great. The action is really good. I always liked Bleach aesthetically more than Naruto and One Piece, which are usually what they're compared to. I think One Piece is the most funnest. Naruto's the most overall. It's like overall the best, I think, because that's the way I was put it. One Piece is like the most funnest, and then Bleach is like the most like aesthetically beautiful and like cool and edgy with the swords and stuff. I would say the power dynamic in Bleach is pretty nonsense, but the power dynamic in all shonens are pretty nonsense. Yeah, it was great. Anything remarkable? Oh, let me go back to Cyberpunk for 1 second. The opening song, pretty sick. I think I'll make it the ending. So I think I'll put that song at the end of this podcast episode. The opening song for Cyberpunk. Give me 1 second. All right. Yeah, cauliflower buns are really dry, so I gotta drink gallons of water to wash it down. Yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say about Bleach. And then we have my fourth anime I watched called Bocchi the Rock, or Bocchi the Rock. I think it's Bocchi the Rock. This was a slice of life anime about a group of high schoolers or high school girls making a band together. And the main character is really, really awkward and really, really anxious, like to the extremest possible. And I liked a couple things about this. One, it gave me that little feeling of K-On! Again. K-On's one of my favorite anime of all time. It was great. It was funny. It was nice life. The main character was pretty relatable. Maybe a little bit too exaggerated, but nothing. I think it borderline was relatable to me, being so awkward and anxious all the time. It's fun. What I liked about this anime, one, it was just a good anime. Two, they didn't try to fix the main character's anxiety and awkwardness by the end of the season, because lots of anime tend to do that. But she still was just as awkward and just as anxious on the last episode, which I thought was good. Because you can't change like that, like 13 episodes, like I guess I don't know, 1 month in the anime, time wise. But there's a really, really funny scene I want to just talk about. I don't think it ruins the show, but it's hilarious. In like one of the last episodes, they're performing in front of the school, and our main character, whose name is it's Bocchi, his name of the show. Bocchi, yeah. Bocchi, she's given the mic and she's asked like to say a few words, because it's her high school. And she's like, what do I do? Like in her head, because she's anxious and awkward. So what she decides to do is, she's gotten so far, she tells herself she has to do something, right? So she does what any normal rock star would do, is she runs and just dives into the crowd. And I'm like, oh, nice. That's pretty, because she's scared to talk, so she does an action. But then nobody catches her. She falls flat face first into the floor. And it's just so awkward, but I loved it. I loved it so much. That was good stuff. I felt that secondhand awkwardness. I was like, no, Bocchi, no. Yeah, that was good. I didn't note Bleach or Bocchi on my thing. Bleach, Bocchi. What time is it? We are at 30 minutes, but I'm not counting the breaks I took, so let's keep on going. This past Monday, I went to go see a reading of a play, which I've never done before, because it was free, and it was a reading for a play called The Heart Sellers by Lloyd. Um, I thought it was amazing. It's been a while since I've seen a play, so this was a nice refresher. And I don't know, I love plays so much. Like once I get a job, I'm gonna go to plays like all the time. You guys, if you've never seen a play, you need to see a play. If you want a recommendation, ask me. Although the unfortunate sad thing about plays is that after a few weeks or months, they're not they don't show them anymore. That sucks. Once they get big enough to get replayed, and usually there's no recordings, so it's kind of sad. Um, the heart sellers. I want to say something. Oh yeah, so it was a reading, not like a full production play, but I felt like it was a full production play. It was just that good. It was like when I left, I was like, wow, if this play comes like the full production soon, I was like, I don't need to see it. I pretty much felt like I just saw the whole thing. But I retracted that statement a few moments later because I was like, no, it was so good. I want to see it again. Um, and maybe be a little bit maybe it'll be even better in the full production with the props and everything. I'm trying to see if I can find a bio of the play real quick. Bio. Let me Google it real quick. The Heart Sellers. By Lloyd. If you find yourself in Milwaukee at the moment, they're playing it there. I realized that soon after. They're playing it through March 19, which is pretty close. And maybe after that they'll come to New York. Maybe. Let's see here. Right here. Oh, I'll read the direction right here. Funny and deeply moving. This world premiere by Lloyd, who also directed The Chinese Lady. It just says that. I assume that's one of his bigger productions. It gives voice to the Asian immigrant experience in the 1970s when the landmark Hart Cellar, spelled HART-CELLER, which is a play on the title of the play, The Heart Sellers, spelled heart and cellars like you would normally write. When the landmark Hart-Celler Act granted thousands of professional workers a new path to citizenship. But for Americans Jane and Luna, life in the USA with their workaholic husbands has left them feeling isolated and invisible. One Thanksgiving, over sips of wine and questionable frozen turkey, they reminisce and dream of spreading their wings together in the land of opportunity. Disco dancing, learning to drive, and even a visit to Disneyland. With a grace and dignity, the powerful play asks, would you give up your heart to make a new home? Right. So this whole play is just two wives talking to each other, two immigrant wives talking to each other, and it slowly gets more deeper and deeper as because they're strangers and they just keep talking and they get more deeper in their conversation. So the play is called The Heart Sellers, spelled heart and cellars normally, and it's based on the Hart-Celler Act in the 1970s. Which allowed a lot of other countries to immigrate to America, and so the connection there was like, when the characters in the play was like, they felt as if they sold their heart to come to America. It was pretty deep. It was beautiful. The monologues were great. It was funny, which plays tend to always love to add really good comedy. That's a beautiful. It's just so much emotions going on. So yeah, if the Heart Sellers comes to New York, I would check it out. It's a really good play. It's a really good introductory place too, because it's not too heavy, and it's probably not. It would probably be an off-Broadway show, so it probably wouldn't cost that much money. So it's a nice entry play, I would say. Especially if you are a Asian American of any kind, it will probably hit you even harder. Yeah, check out. That was great. I want to see more plays. I have one coming up in April. But those seats are gonna be terrible. So I hope it's still a good show. And I've actually seen that play before, so it won't even be a new one. I wanted to pull up my docs again. Here we go. And we are at how many minutes? We're at almost 40 minutes now, but I don't know how long I was away, so let's just do maybe 5 more minutes, yeah. And I want to talk about feeling like an asshole in regards to technology. You know, I find myself to be pretty tech savvy, so when people are not good with like computers, I tend to like be like an asshole about it, like, what, you don't know how to do this? But then like my mom, if she's like she'll ask me the most basic things, like how to buy something on Amazon, and I'll get annoyed when I shouldn't be. Like, if I never taught her, I don't have the right, or if no one taught her, or I never taught her, I don't have the right to get annoyed because like she didn't have the opportunity to learn. I'm just gonna get mad just because I'm an asshole, pretty much. But then I started thinking about, like, as I'm substituting these kids in school, um, they're using stuff like new stuff that I didn't use, like TikTok and stuff, and I have no idea how to use TikTok. So from the kid would probably think I'm an idiot who doesn't know how to use TikTok. It's hard to learn, probably not, but I don't. The fact of the matter is, I don't know how to use this when these kids know how to use it, and I'm like, I'm the old man now. So now if they were to like say to me like, "What, you don't know how to use this? What are you, like, dumb?" I realized that I would feel like semi shit, and that semi shit feeling that I would get is probably the way maybe someone else has felt when I've mentioned to them that they don't know how to use something. You know, it's just another reason why we should probably be nice to each other and actually teach other people things, and not just, blow them off as being lazy. Yes, you can Google everything, but if we Google everything, we're not going to be talking to each other. Everyone should be talking to everybody because conversation is the key to any relationship, romantic or not. And that's where I want to close it out for this episode of the Broke But Not Broken podcast. Yes, I'm saying the title again just to stretch out the episode. We are in March. Spring is coming up. Ramadan's coming up. I'm going to be fasting soon. So no more coffee at 2 p.m., which sucks. But I will take advantage of that and lose lots of weight. And I want to talk a lot about the dentist next time, too. Let me make a note of that real quick. The dentist. All right. Cool. Thanks for listening to the Broke But Not Broken podcast. The song I will be playing on Spotify after this podcast will be This Fire by Franz Ferdinand. They did the opening for Cyberpunk Edgerunners anime. Pretty catchy song. And yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, actually. And have a good day.